everyone and welcome back. Today we are doing the 5 decks I can't live without, but the Oracle edition. This has been a tag that's been going around that originally started with Kelly Bear back in 2016, and I did it well back then too. This time my Oracle decks I think are quite different from last time, but I have managed to get to 5 Oracle decks that I would really like to make sure I have on me for the foreseeable future. I love these decks, and if I could only have these 5 Oracle decks, I'd be really happy. So I'm going to get the obvious ones out of the way first, although perhaps they're all obvious. I don't have as many Oracle decks as I do Tarot. The Dreamtime Reading Cards by Laura Bowen. This is just a classic, and a long-time favorite of mine. Absolutely a gorgeous, wonderful, incredible deck. This has been my favorite Oracle deck for, I don't know, years and years, and it's still a very, very special one to me. Laura Bowen's artwork is just gorgeous. Her guidebooks are amazing. It's just wonderful. Like, everybody knew this deck was going to be on this list if you know me at all. I've spoken about this deck for almost as long as I've been on YouTube, which is like a long time now, so it's a very special one, and I'm pretty sure this was on this list last time round. I don't see why it wouldn't have been. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's still a deck that I use plenty. I don't foresee that changing anytime really. And of course, the sister deck, the Saltwater Reading Cards. This one actually, I've always liked this deck a lot, but it used to kind of be definitely secondary to the Dreamtime Reading Cards for me. Now, if anything, it's almost switched. Like, I love the Dreamtime Reading Cards, and they'll always hold a very, very special place in my heart. But I find I use this one a lot more now than I used to. Possibly even more than I use the Dreamtime Reading Cards. Before, this one used to be really a summer deck for me, and almost a holiday deck, like when I went to go to Bateman's Bay to visit my grandparents or whatever. Now I use it so often. Like, I use it in winter, I use it anytime. Like, there's not that kind of strict seasonal element for me like there used to be, and I just adore it. I absolutely adore it. I just like these colors because there's so many blues and purples, and like the colors are just next level. It's just beautiful. I keep looking at it. I know I'm supposed to look at you, but I want to look at the cards because they're so damn pretty. So gorgeous. And I mean, to me, like the first 3 decks I'm going to be talking about, it's just so nice to have so much of the Australian landscape and animals represented, because there's not a lot of that out there in other decks, and that's a big part of, you know, my spirituality and just my life in general, right? So that's why I think these decks are so special to me. And number 3 is the Australian Wildflower Reading Cards by Sherilyn Darcy. I think these cards actually have very unfortunately gone out of print. I do have, well, not on me, I think they're at Mum's place, the just the flower reading cards, which are in a yellow box, and they're lovely too. But these are just so special to me, I think, because of the Australian connection. Like, I know these plants, you know, I see them on my bushwalks, whereas I don't with all of the ones in the flower reading cards. Although those are really cool because they're connected to landscapes throughout the world as well, which is an awesome element. But these are just really special as an Australian. These I don't use all the time. I use them more on holiday, especially when we either go to the bush or you know, go to a festival or something, just anywhere out of the city. I use these a lot with Mum. Just adore them, adore them. You know, last time when we went to Seven Sisters Festival, we drew a card each from this every day, and it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. These are really special cards. So I definitely don't use Oracle decks as much as I use Tarot, but these Oracle decks, you know, they serve really specific purposes for me, and I do end up using them quite a bit. Number 4 is the Life Design Cards by Sarah McLachlan. I was about to say this is one of my favorite Oracle decks, but obviously it's in my top 5. It's in this list. Oh, this is just such an incredible Oracle deck, and one I wasn't really sure what to expect from. I had wanted this deck for a long time, but she has 3 Oracle decks and I never knew which to get, and they're not cheap, and the shipping is, you know, makes them quite pricey. So I think it was more that almost like the analysis paralysis. I didn't know which one to get, so I never got them or got any of them until this one came up for secondhand sale in Australia, and I snagged it up, which was great, and the person gave me a good deal, so thank you so much. And I just fell head over heels in love with this deck, and now I have all of her decks. But this one is still my favorite, including the tarot deck. I really love the textured tarot, but this is still my favorite of her decks. And it is really, really unique. It's really special. And like these keywords and things, I've never seen a deck like it with these. They're just really, it's such a unique sort of a deck. Like this one is tolerate the paradox and make a decision. Isn't that cool? They're really so pretty. There's so many textures and layers in this. Produce no waste. Because it is based on the principles of permaculture, I think, from memory. Allow curiosity to drive what does not make sense. It's amazing. So cool. And there are kind of suits in this deck, hence the like different coloured backings. But I don't worry about that too much. For me, this is just like a 1-card draw deck, and it's incredible, absolutely incredible. And it reads so well for me. Like every time I draw a card, like these are really unusual keywords and things, but every time I draw a card, it's just perfect. Like in a weird, almost creepy way. These cards are always perfect for me. And that's why this will always be with me. It's such a special deck. So those 4 were very easy for me to choose. I knew them right off the bat which ones I was going to pull off the shelf. The 5th one was a little harder for me, and I've picked a deck that, you know, is a deck of cards, but I don't know that Oracle deck is really the right term for it, but I'm going with it anyway. And it is Beverly King's Elements of Recovery cards. These are just a really small little set of cards. I think they were on wasn't one of those print on demand sort of card websites, and it's an interesting set of cards in that it's based on the principles of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm over 6 years sober now, which is amazing, and I found this deck so useful. It's just been really healing and helpful, really, really helpful. But interestingly, I haven't just found it helpful for my issues around alcohol and sobriety, but also around, especially around my anxiety and perfectionism. So I suppose those kind of like maladaptive coping strategies that I have developed, all of those things, I feel like this deck is really good at helping me with. And I don't always use it in like a pull a card, like just a random card. I do sometimes, and I do have certain spreads I like to use with it. Often smaller spreads. Like I might do like what I'm doing well for one card and what I need to do better for another card. I have written the titles on them, so that is my own handwriting. They do have the number printed on them, but I've written the titles as well. And this artwork's really cute, but it's not like some extraordinary artwork, which was not the point. So this deck really, like the appeal for me for this deck really was the intention behind it, that it was those AA principles, but without the kind of really strict Christian language and all of that. Just broke them down to some really beautiful, simple cards that I think can be really helpful. So this is going to be a really short video, but these are the 5 Oracle decks that I would really rather not live without. All of them have been with me for quite a long time. I think these would be the newest, actually. And it feels like I've had them for a long time. So these Oracle decks are just staples for me at this point. And like I said, I don't really use Oracle decks a lot, and I very rarely get new Oracle decks. But these are really special, and they actually do get a lot of use. I do get a lot of use out of them, which is fairly unusual for Oracle decks for me. Some Oracle decks, you know, I play around with and that's about it. Or some, you know, I don't know, some kind of feel like they are useful for very specific things. These I just use a lot and I love them. But that is all for this video. If you haven't already, check out my top 5 tarot decks I can't live without, which is kind of like, I do use tarot more, so I have more to say about those decks. But I do hope you enjoyed this one, and until next time, so much love. Bye.